Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Abnormal Pictures podcast. My name is Steve and that is Christian, and I'm going to start today, unlike last week, with actually prefacing we will be talking about spoilers for the latest episode of X-Men 97 Season 2. That would be Episode 5, Weapon X Lies in DVDs. So, I guess the first thing that we want to talk about is probably how people received this episode as being a lot of filler, but I really enjoyed it. And I thought it was necessary for Wolverine and, explaining how he gets his adamantium back after the events of being sent away in time. So how did you feel about the episode, Christian?
So I really enjoyed the episode. I had a lot of Easter eggs that I'm going to dive into because I have a lot more X-Men knowledge than
Right.
you. Um, I get why people were mad that this was a filler episode because that's what it was. But this was a lot better than the filler episode that they had in the first season where it was like Jubilee and Sunspot got sucked into the Mojo game and everything. I thought
Right.
this was a much better filler episode than that. It gave us layers to Wolverine's character. It gave us layers into how he still views himself
Yes.
and how everyone else sees him. It was very cool to see that because Wolverine's one of those characters where, like, yes, he does good things, but he's been alive for so long. He has much different motivators than say Morph had in that episode.
Right.
Like Morph, they had a very good connection to that lore where like he's just that buddy for Wolverine that follows him around and does whatever he wants. And we get to see Lady Deathstrike. She has a history of Wolverine as well, and you get to see her kind of have that same feeling that Morph had.
Yeah.
Not right now, buddy. So we get to see that as well, which was very cool. There's a lot of hidden Weapon X references in there. There was a reference that I thought that I was wrong about. So when we first see the animals, yes, buddy. Okay, you're fine, buddy. They're not out right now, buddy.
Being dad things, by the way, podcast
Yeah,
viewers.
in a second, buddy. Yeah. Um, and so when the animals first showed up, I thought that was a reference to another weapons program because um, so there's a bunch of different weapons. Weapon X is obviously Weapon 10.
Right.
Captain America was the first weapons. I forget which one the animals were. I looked it up the other day. I completely forgot at this point. I meant to look it up before this, but what that was actually another weapons project where they tested on animals. So when I first seen those animals, I said, "Oh shit, we're getting more weapons projects." That was not the case. It
Right.
was something even freaking cooler. The Brood.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, that is a great way to set up another future villain for that show. They've set up a lot of future villains in this. Even like Omega Red could be the own, like have his own season as a villain.
Yep.
Absolutely awesome. But I'll hop into the Brood first. So I'll kind of dive into the comic background. So the first time the Brood showed up, I forget when it was, but they all got stranded on this planet and it was very accurate what happened with Wolverine, where he wasn't fully turned, but he is turning into a Brood. Because of his healing factor,
Mm.
he cannot fully turn to one of the Broods, even though that's what they wanted. He was very right. They were very right in getting him the adamantium because when he has the adamantium, it actually makes his healing factor stronger because it is working overtime
Yep. It's
because the
compensating.
adamantium posing.
Yep.
Yeah. So they were very right in putting the adamantium back in him because he might have actually turned. It might have taken a very long time, but he might have actually turned without the adamantium. So that was a very cool reference. The shot of him as one of the Brood Wolverine hybrid, that's straight from the comics.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. And the Brood's a really, really cool villain. Dude, it made for a crazy storyline. So I'm gonna dive in it just because I'm going. So in the comics, Storm gets turned into a Brood. Yes, buddy. Yeah. Storm gets turned into a Brood, and then she turns. So they're on this different planet, and there's like these like manta. I'll say they're like manta-like creatures. And then Storm gets turned into one of those, and on that, it's actually recreating her body. So she's one of those things, and then gets reborn into Storm. Oh my God, jeez. X-Men comics are at their best when they're just batshit crazy.
Yeah.
And if you go back and read that, it's really fucking cool to read. So there was that. Yeah, but I really love the complexity that we really added layers to Wolverine's character. I'm gonna emphasize on that a lot because, yeah, buddy, not right now. I really love the complexity they add to Wolverine's character because it shows, and I hate to say it, that he's not exactly a straight up good guy. He's really not. He's done a lot of bad things
Oh
and he's
yeah.
going to continue to do a lot of bad things. He does it for the best interest he feels of everyone else. And he said it. He's like, what he is he's a killing machine. Like he needs those claws to be like that.
Yeah.
Um, we also set up a few other things. Myself included, a lot of people thought Wolverine was going to get his adamantium back through Apocalypse.
Hmm.
I think that was kind of everyone's thought process was Wolverine was going to get turned into one of horsemen. The problem with that is obviously they don't have to stick to the comics, but Wolverine was one of the horsemen of death in the comics. Gambit was also one of the horsemen of death in the comics. I think this straight up sets up, there's going to be no confusion. Gambit will be the horseman of death in this.
Hmm.
And I think that's straight up teased. Like, I know maybe not a lot of people got that from that episode, but I think they're trying to set up something to where it's like everyone thought this, and that's what you're going to get. So we're going to go out of our way to get Wolverine's claws back in a different fashion.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of people complaining that he was teaming up with Sabretooth, this and that.
It made sense
Wolverine
though.
knew, Wolverine knew what he was doing. Like
He was
throughout that
manipulating
episode,
the
you realized,
team. Yeah, he was
yeah,
manipulating
and
because he never gave his true intention. It was to destroy the
yes.
Weapon X facility, but really he had that plan all along to get his adamantium back. Yeah.
Yes, and also he brought people he didn't care if they died.
Yeah. And that,
That
what
was
does that say
basically
about
a.
Morph, dog? Man.
I think he cares if. Gosh, stop throwing ashes on me. Please stop. But he does care about Morph, and but it's he knew it. I think he knows with the impending battle coming with Apocalypse, because obviously that's what the season set up. And that was another complaint I saw from people was they're like, why is he doing this? Like, is he allowed to just leave when they're having to, plan a battle with Apocalypse? Because obviously they're back in the main time now.
Right.
Um, I don't have too much of a problem with that. People got to understand that like things just don't happen. Yes, in comics, yes, they just happen. But you have to think of it as like a perspective. Like, yes, it's a universe, a fake universe, but days pass in these universes too. Not every day is just a battle, battle, battle.
Yeah.
They're setting up for that. They're like, oh, did he ask Charles? Wolverine's a grown ass man. He don't need to ask Charles shit. Morph don't need to ask Charles shit.
Well, if you watch the original series, Logan really just does what the fuck he wants, regardless of what anybody
Exactly.
else tells him to do. Yeah.
Well, that's the whole reason he has the relationship with Morph that he has.
Yeah.
Go. It's okay, buddy. You can do it. So I really like this episode. I'm also a huge Wolverine fan,
Yeah.
so that helps as well. There's so many Easter eggs. I could go over all of them. I'm not going to, but those are just some things that I saw, I noticed, and I wanted to shout out the Brood because I don't think they all got killed. I'm gonna be
No.
real with you. I don't.
No.
So we're definitely gonna get the Brood at some point, and I'm excited for that because that was a fun little line in the comics. Yes,
Hmm.
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'll give some of my opinion. So obviously, I will say in the timeline of the episodes that they've released, yes, this was a very abrupt change of pace, and I can understand why people were wanting it to be more linear, but this does branch off into something
Yeah,
very abruptly that it's completely separated from everything Apocalypse, right?
yeah,
Like you were saying, it made sense that he was taking a bunch of people who were not only related to the Weapon X facility in the program, but also people that were disposable that really Wolverine didn't give a shit about, right? Bringing Sabretooth, he was probably hoping Sabretooth was gonna die,
yeah,
right? it was cool to have that interaction between the characters, and especially like the brotherly rivalry kind of that Sabretooth and Wolverine had, that interaction where it's like, I want to kill you all the time, but we're working together on this thing. And then Sabretooth realizes that, Wolverine, he's the one who says, oh, Wolverine was just playing us in order to get his adamantium back, and explains that to Morph, because Morph wants to believe that Logan is more than just the beast that he lets himself on to be, right? I thought the dynamic was really important, because I think really there's a one-way type of relationship going on here, or a crush maybe from Morph, that they want to be with Mr. Logan, and want to see the best out of his character and himself. But I think the best part of the episode in terms of their relationship was, besides them flying away in the jet at the end, was when, as this brood-controlled Wolverine, Morph is trying to talk him down and be like, Logan, X-Men don't cut and run, and then he still hits him until he turns into Jean. And so you see the dichotomy and where Wolverine's head is at, where he doesn't view Morph like that, even though Morph views him like that. In the same way they were describing in the episode when Lady Deathstrike was it Toko, I believe she was calling him, was the fox in the story of the fox with the samurai, which I thought was great, because we know how Wolverine is in terms of samurai shit. That was a really cool story to put into there. And then basically Morph being that little fox that it doesn't end well for. You follow around the samurai and eventually it ends poorly for you. And it got very close to that being the case in this episode. Now, I knew they weren't going to kill Morph, and I had already seen him transform into Jean in like on Twitter or something like that. So I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. That being said, it's good to have a little bit more time with Morph, because Morph really doesn't get a lot of exposure in the series. And also, too, it's not like they're not a very fleshed out character. So being able to give some layers and some depth to that character, instead of just being, oh, here's this cameo fest character, which is what we've been complaining about. We've been complaining that, oh, it's just a cameo character. And I thought it was really cool. We got Spider-Man, like changing into Spider-Man and getting hit with the Doc Ock tentacles. It was like the same thing as the 90s animation where Doc Ock gets his friggin' wrap on him, his arm, with Omega Red. And Omega Red was one of the highlights of the episode for me. They made that man badass. He came out, he exploded out of that tank and just started laying belt to ass on everybody. It was great.
Literally.
Yeah. And definitely Omega Red is not dead. We know that. Omega Red is going to be back. Yep. And it will be cool to see more interactions with that character. I'm excited to get more. But obviously we do have to get back into what's going on with Apocalypse and what's going to be going on and how can we defeat him, and back into the Cable stuff as well. So we'll have to see where that goes. Another thing I wanted to mention, I thought this was really funny. I absolutely loved when Morph turned into Cyclops. I'm like, this is 100% some shit that Cyclops would be doing to fuck with Logan. That is that is Scott Summers right there. It was great.
It was so funny.
I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, yep. And then, of course, Wolverine is just like, fuck you, as the Brood.
Let me tell you, Morph really knows how to get under Wolverine's skin.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I'm not familiar with the Brood. Obviously, you are with the X-Men comics. To me, it almost felt like a symbiote type of reference. Like I don't know too much about the Brood in the comics, but the way that they were describing and the way it was like they only choose, these prime hosts that they want to control. I was like, that kind of and it's a hive mind type of villain. I was like, okay, it's kind of venomish. And if you remember in the Spider-Man game where Wolverine does get the symbiote, he kind of looked the same, like very similar to the Brood version in this episode.
Yeah, that's probably where they're inspired off of. And it was really cool in the comics. So like when all the X-Men characters were getting turned into the Brood, like they looked like Brood, but they had the powers of all the X-Men characters. So like it was really freaking cool. It was a really fun little storyline that they did. I believe it was after like a major one too, like Wolverine like woke up on this planet and it was kind of through his perspective. And I think that's really like when Wolverine took off in the X-Men comics too. It might have been a little before that, but very similar timeline.
Yeah. So obviously this is separated from everything that was going on in the main part of the story. I know that we obviously discussed that people had issues with it being filler, but again, it was important to understand how Wolverine was going to get his adamantium back because they teased that, obviously talking to the other characters in the end of the last episode. The question then becomes, what are we going to see? You were talking about Gambit becoming the Horseman of Death and being brought back
Yep.
by Apocalypse. So when do we think the kind of timeline for that is going to happen in these next couple of episodes? And what do you think moving forward they're gonna start to do with Apocalypse and this story?
I don't think it's going to be the next episode. I think it's going to be the episode after that.
Okay.
So, because it's 9 episodes, right?
I believe so.
And we just had episode 5.
Yeah.
So six. I think X Factor is going to play a part in this next episode. And then I think that'll go in sevens when we start getting introduced to the Horsemen.
Yeah.
And then 7, 8, 9 can finish the Apocalypse story. And then 9 can kind of set up what the next story is going to be, which I'm almost assuming at this point it's going to be something to do with the Onslaught.
Okay.
Bro, what?
Yeah. So we only have about a month left of this season then.
Ow. Yeah, I know. I'm really disappointed because I've really enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
But, we're getting more seasons, which is just as exciting. And like I said, they've set up a lot of different villains in these episodes that we've gotten so far. There's just been so many villains set up. I mean, we've had Kang, we've
Yep.
had the tease of Onslaught, we have the Brood now, we have Omega Red. Like, there's just a lot that can go. There's so many different directions they can go. I know a lot of people are worried because, um, I know Bo got fired from the show.
Hmm.
I think he wrote the first 2 seasons, so I know there's a lot of worry. I've seen some fans worried that maybe these seasons after season 2 aren't going to be as good because he's not the head writer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna I'm gonna lean towards it's still going to be good. He didn't write the original show. It was good. I
Yeah.
mean, so we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. It's been done very well. I am a little disappointed that we did end up getting a filler episode just because it's been straight story the first 4 episodes,
Right.
but I get why they did it. You have a little reset in between, but it was also necessary to the story. I felt like the filler in the first season with the Jubilee and Sunspot, I didn't feel like that one was necessary.
Right.
Like that was just kind of like a tease of what Jubilee could be in the future. Like this was different. Like this had ties to the story, so I was okay with it.
See, I believe that episode with Jubilee and Sunspot was important in the same way for the relationship here with Morph and Wolverine because it kind of established a
Yeah,
similar this is the connection between these characters, and I believe that that's going to
yeah,
play a big part moving forward for Morph. But that was important for those characters. But obviously, yes, with the adamantium, getting that back for Wolverine and establishing potentially a major future villain in the Brood, that makes sense. And like I
yeah,
said, I get because you're very correct. It was just straight story. It was you've said this in the last podcasts, right? It was just bang, 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 thing after thing after thing, moving forward in this singular focus, which they kind of had to do because if you want to get the X-Men back to the 90s in order to set up a final sort of battle with Apocalypse, you have to bring all of it because you had them in the past, you had them in the future, you had to reestablish getting those characters back relatively quickly so you could move forward with this whole final deal that they're going to be doing towards the end of the season with Apocalypse. I think if you are in fact correct and Gambit is resurrected, it's going to be a very heavily rogue focused episode as well.
yes.
And that will be a really cool interaction to see.
Well, from what I've seen, I think I voice crack, very nice. From what I've seen, I think this next episode is almost going to be like a Polaris focused episode
Hmm.
because I read a synopsis. I think it's this next episode where she visits Xavier's school for a certain reason or not. So I think it's going to be a Polaris focused episode, which is very cool because Polaris had some very good moments in the early X-Men comics. Um, I don't like her for what she did to Iceman, so we're not going to talk about that right now.
Yeah.
All right. Which topic do you want to jump into next? Do you want to jump into how I hate the freaking PR team and Sadie Sink for what they're doing to me? Or do you want to jump into the Wolverine
I
game?
would say let's go from Wolverine here today to Wolverine in the game, and we can talk
All
about
right.
the trailer a little bit. So obviously there was some backlash by a bunch of haters about I mean, a lot of people don't like Wolverine and Jean being together in any capacity. That's a huge deal because I guess right now it's Cyclops season and everybody suddenly loves Cyclops. And I mean, I kind of get it. You hate him, but I get it. I get it. I understand. He's having a real good year. He's gonna have a great point in Doomsday. It's gonna be a big one for him. That being said, we saw the picture with Wolverine and Jean together, and that being lit to flame, and then battle with Lady Deathstrike, and what I presume is the hand, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, what were your thoughts on the trailer?
So here's kind of what I'll touch on. First off, if you thought that was Mary Jane, you're a dumbass. I'll bring up what I thought to you. He looked he looked a lot like Liam Hemsworth in that Polaroid picture, and I was like, why does he look like Liam Hemsworth? What are they doing? Um, Secondly, I'm gonna jump into this. I don't think it's Jean either, and if it is, I'm going to be pissed off. I don't think it's Jean. It's
Hmm.
a Polaroid picture. It's obviously it's very old. It's an older picture. As we know, Wolverine is one of the older mutants that there is. I don't think this is early Wolverine years. I could be wrong. It could be someone else. Wolverine has been known to love redheads.
Yeah.
That's canon. It don't matter what universe it's in, it's canon. So I don't think it's Jean either, but it would make sense why when he seen her, he only said red because he saw the red hair.
Yeah.
Um, as we know, Wolverine has a very fractured past because he's been alive for so long. Because of Weapon X, not everything is linear in his brain. He
Right.
has fragments of memories that are missing. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they go. And they kind of tease that in the trailer too, like him fighting through different times, him falling, and like he's waking up in a different time, stuff like that. So it's very possible that it's not even Jean either.
Hmm.
They probably wanted you to think that to get you talking. That's what trailers like that are for.
Right.
They're to get you talking about the game. Um, Sometimes bad publicity is better than no publicity too. I've seen a lot more backlash for this trailer than I've seen for the first one. So I said something to you. I said, bro, if this is Gene, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
that's the thing is that it's so weird because the perception from a lot of fans with from like comic fans is they absolutely hate everything to do with that being a relationship. However, there's a whole lot of people who just grew up watching the actual live action movies who are like, "Oh yeah, like this is awesome. We love this romance with Jean and Wolverine." Because
I
it's
mean,
really different.
even in the movies, it was a like three-way relationship.
Yeah, yeah. But people always
It,
ship them together in those movies,
yeah,
big
I'm
time.
tired of the entanglement.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair,
Okay, buddy.
it makes sense to obviously with the
I know.
established lore of Cable being the son of Jean and Scott. It's a very important character going in the X-Men comics. So I can understand a lot of the backlash. I'm sure
I,
there has to have been points by which they've had those type of romantic relationships before, and I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people don't like Cyclops or have disdain for Cyclops, regardless of your opinions of him being a bad dad or not, right? It also is because a lot of people really like Wolverine and they really hate that he keeps getting his bitch stolen by Cyclops. I feel like a lot of the backlash is to
yeah,
that.
I mean, that's definitely part of it. I think a lot of the fans that like have read comics, I mean, throughout the years now, Cyclops has done. I mean, shit, he's killed Professor X at one point. So I mean, he's definitely faced a lot of backlash. They've really changed his character. He's gone from more of like a Boy Scout to like almost dictator or Magneto like.
Hmm.
So I mean, I get it. I think they've kind of massacred his character in the comics as well. I don't place all the blame on him because I mean, I'll give him his credit where his credit's due. He is a great leader. He is a great there's a math word that I can't think of, but he really knows how to use his
Tactician?
lasers to his advantage. Yeah, there we go, tactician. He is a master. He is probably one of the top hand-to-hand fighters in the comics, even like without his power. Well, his powers actually don't even affect his fighting abilities. His literal only ability is his laser eyes,
Right.
and he's a cool character. I get why people like him. I'm just not a fan of Boy Scouts, and I'm not a fan of quite
Yeah,
a few.
Superman hater. Superman hater over here. You.
There's a very common trend with me not liking Boy Scout characters.
Yeah. Yeah. So then going back to the trailer, you were talking about, yeah, I think a lot of what's happening too, I don't think they were intentionally trying to draw outrage or anything like that or get negative publicity as a result. But I think a lot of people did jump to that conclusion, and I didn't even think about it either because you're talking about a Polaroid picture. How does that line up in the timeline of that game in the Insomniac universe? And would that actually be Gene, or is it someone from Logan's past? And he has that picture, and he gets extremely upset when that is gone. It's burned away. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see, and and that's the other thing too is, if he has that sort of sentimental value, and if that was to be Jean, right? We see her in the trailer for the game, in the first trailer, so that begs the question of how would that relationship actually work if that is her, and why are they separated? That's another big thing. And so that could be, maybe that's how they introduce, if that is Jean Grey, maybe that's how they introduce more of the X-Men related characters, even though I know they said we're not going to get the X-Men, and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, so I still think that the game is going to be good. And again, I'm a defender of Spider-Man 2 from the Insomniac games, and a lot of people had that backlash for it. I think Wolverine's going to be a fun game. Not like I'm going to be able to play it because I'm not buying a PlayStation for that shit. Still, I'll watch the story and see people play it. And that's the thing is, like, I could sit there and watch the people play Spider-Man, and I did before it came to PC. Didn't get to play it myself, but I absolutely loved the stories in that. And you can sit there and essentially, the first Spider-Man in Insomniac was literally like watching one of the best movies of Spider-Man that you could see if you're just watching the story itself. And I think that Wolverine is going to be able to do that as well. I think really just getting any Wolverine content is normally pretty good, since I'm a big fan of the character. So, you have anything else for the trailer? You want to start being rage baited by Sadie Sink?
I'm ready to be freaking rage baited again. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna start this up. Fuck the PR team for Spider-Man movie. Fuck you guys. You know what you're doing, and you know you're pissing people like me off. Fuck you guys. Sadie Sink, in watching those like teasers, she almost looked uncomfortable doing it because she's like, I want to say this so bad. I could tell she wants it. Well, buddy, not right now. Sorry. I can tell like she wants to tell people who she is, and you can like she knows everyone. Like she said it. All these people are guessing who I am. I'm not this person.
Yeah.
I'm not this person, and you'll see in the movie. I'm like, fuck you. God damn it. But it's very interesting now because it's setting up to where her character is not going to be the main villain. Like we kind of know who the main character is now. It's someone invisible controlling people.
But it still could be mind related, though. You know what I mean? Like it could be somebody.
It could.
It still could be Jean, and I think a lot of people. Let me tell you something right now. I know that you don't want her to be Jean, and you'd be upset with that being in Spider-Man. That being said, the way that the internet has worked this up is people will be disappointed if she is not at this point. It's going to be one of those, like, the internet will explode type of deals. And this is what people do because you come up with these theories, and then it's like, and you're let down.
But I swear I seen a synopsis somewhere where it says, like, she's not the main villain. She's being controlled by somebody outside of that, which I mean, like you said, she could still be Jean, but it could be someone outside of that controlling her. So it's very interesting. You know, we've seen the rumors about Jackal. I know I've seen something about Shadow King at some point. There's so much things that could happen. I'm so excited for this movie. We're getting so close, but man, this PR team's they're really pissing me off because they've been smart about it.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I've just now started seeing PR stuff for it. Those videos have been recorded weeks ago, maybe even months ago, because we've already gotten all the like Tom Holland stuff and all that. They're just now starting to show sh stuff with her, and they know what they're doing. They're ramping it up. Oh, dude, I can't wait to watch the interviews where she talks about who her character is, and they just couldn't put it in any of the interviews
Oh
because
yeah.
obviously, oh, dude, I'm so excited for it. I mean, like I said though. Here's where I stand. I don't want Jean to be introduced in a Spider-Man movie. I also think she's the perfect casting to play Jean, which is what hurts me so much is I really do think like she's the perfect person to cast right now to play a young Jean. I just don't want it to be in a Spider-Man movie.
So, can I say there is a character who I'm not very familiar with the character, but from what I understand, the Spider Queen was a part of the comics who is a mutant
Mm,
who also was around during Peter's mutation and can mind control people.
that is true.
I heard about this from the escape pod. They were talking about it, and I was like, that could be very interesting because a lot of people were mentioning like Typhoid Mary and Jean, obviously.
Yeah,
But if this is the Spider Queen, that could potentially make sense according to what happened in the comics during he's having this mutation phase and his powers are changing. And she is a mind control type of character who is also a mutant, which could introduce
yeah.
mutants into the universe through Spider-Man. Which, how would that make you feel instead of it being Jean to have someone kind of separate who is also spider related?
Yeah, I think it'd be very cool, and it's someone you could still have in the universe after. Because I mean, Sadie Sink is a huge actor right now.
Yeah.
We'll just call it that. She is a huge actor right now. Obviously, like this is why I'm also like, if she does end up being Jean, that means we get more of her.
Yeah.
If she's not, there's a good chance that this is the only movie we're going to see her in,
She
and I feel
already
like
has a
that's a waste of
contract.
her time.
I believe a
Yeah.
3 movie
So I was going
contract,
to
yeah.
say, which is typical,
Yeah.
but I feel like it'd be such a waste of her talent to just put her in one movie as essentially a throwaway character. Because I mean, the Spider Queen's not a throwaway character, but she's not a household name. So that's what she's going to end up being. It's just like, hey, we're going to put her in there for this, and then maybe we'll use her down the line. Because that's like the guy that played the Red Skull. He ended up being played by a different actor by the time it came around for him to be in one of the Marvel movies again, was because, you know, he had sat around waiting for something else to do, and it had been years since we had last seen Red Skull,
They did
and
Red
then that's
Skull
why he was
dirty as
played.
shit in the MCU, by the way.
Yes, they did. But you know, we finally get to see him again, and he's being played by a different actor.
Yeah.
But yes, it is very common though for people to sign 3 movie deals, and some of them don't even get used. Like Frank Grillo as Crossbones.
Hmm.
You know, he almost didn't get to use all his, contracted movies either. But he got talked into coming back for whichever movie it was Endgame.
Hmm.
There we go. And yeah,
Yeah,
or maybe not.
I will
Yeah, yeah.
say the way you were talking about maybe intentional backlash for like the trailer for Wolverine. This is actually intentional rage bait. Like they are going
Oh
out of their
yeah.
way to do that to generate this controversy more and more and
Oh
more and
God,
piss you off.
yes.
Yeah. And it gets people talking. But here's the thing, regardless of what character that she plays, that's going to be the biggest part. Like, obviously, whatever happens in the end with Spider-Man, and we know that there's supposed to be some big stuff. And if you've seen online on the Spider Tracker, he is no longer on Earth. He's gone. That's what it says. Yeah. They on a Ned Spider Tracker, or at least I don't know if it's like I had seen that had happened. That he was no longer like he's not able to be located in New York or on planet. That is what I have seen. That
Well,
being said, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I did see rumors that the trailer, the end credit scene is going to set up Doomsday or Secret Wars. So
Yeah.
it's very possible. So I mean, and like he said, he said Tom Holland has said this. The last scene is where the title of this movie gets the name from,
Yeah.
which is A Brand New Day. Very possible he gets transported to Battleworld, which is why he wouldn't show up on anywhere on Earth. That's very interesting. I didn't know about that tidbit, so that's very,
Yeah.
very cool. And Marvel has been very smart, even at their worst, like even their worst years. They've been so smart with their marketing, like they know what they're doing. This is a very good one. So, God, we're so close, man. We're so close to
It's
this
gonna
movie.
hey, it's gonna be when this is uploaded, less than 10 days. It's
I
gonna be
know.
great. We're so close. And what we're definitely gonna talk about next week, we can officially do all of our Spider-Man rankings for all of the different Spider-Man characters or actors who have played, and talk about that because I know I've been wanting to do that since we started the podcast, but you were like, let's wait until the movie gets closer. And I'm like, Spider-Man, bring me pictures of Spider-Man
Yes.
type of deal. I've been excited.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you, my rankings aren't going to change.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, when it comes to, obviously, and this is what I was saying before we kind of tangented a little bit. Sadie Singh is going to be massive news regardless who she plays
Yes.
because of how they have marketed her being in this film, leaking little bits and set pictures and manipulating the public opinion of like, oh, this is going to be Jean Grey. Oh, this is going to be she's going to be one of the biggest parts of the movie, just knowing who she is. And I bet you they won't even reveal who her character is until much later in the film. It's going to be a
Dude, I agree
build-up.
with you as well.
Yes. They're going to make
Like
you wait.
we're gonna see her and we're gonna have no fucking clue who she is unless like you're a super nerd and there's like, but yeah, dude, I agree with you 100%. We're gonna find, it's probably gonna be like a very end of the movie. She's finally gonna say her name. We'll be like,
And the thing is, you're going to know before I am. I'm going to
I
be at
know, I
work.
can't wait.
But
Me being able to dangle that over your head is gonna be great.
I'm just going to shut my phone off. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. No, but yeah, she is going to be one of the biggest pieces of news out of that movie, and it's going to be the first thing that people are going to be spoiling on social media, like right off the rip. The first
God,
showings
yeah.
everywhere. So definitely going to be avoiding social media that day. Tell you
That's
that
why I'm
much.
so happy. That's why I'm so happy movies around us release a day early.
Yeah, yeah. Being able to see
Because
it
I
on
mean,
the 30th is real good.
yeah,
Yeah,
because I think it's a very common practice now at this point where like your national releases are on the 31st, so that's like your big movie theaters, but like your smaller ones, they get it a day early, which is why I don't understand why they don't do national release a day early too if smaller movie theaters can do it.
I don't know. Maybe it's
I'm not
just
complaining though.
I don't know. I don't know why it's established that way, but it's definitely right around the corner. So I guess if you want to swap over, then how about Deadpool 4 being confirmed by Ryan Reynolds? How about
Yes.
that? Even though he said that he wasn't going to do another one, and yet here we are, another single Deadpool movie.
So my curiosity stems from, so obviously, yeah, buddy, kids, man. But so obviously he said that after making Deadpool Wolverine, they weren't going to do another one. And so I wonder if he said that because he didn't think Disney was going to allow him to put his directorial input in, which he has done with that character.
Right.
But with how things have gone with, the Punisher, like John Bernthal, he's like,
Yep.
yeah, we're not doing this unless I have, you know, creativity control over my
And
character.
Daredevil Born Again with
Yeah,
Charlie Cox and
Vincent
Vincent
and
D'Onofrio.
Charlie. Yep.
Yes.
So, I mean, I wonder if that was in negotiations and that's why he said that at first. Ryan Reynolds is not playing Deadpool unless he has control over Deadpool.
Right.
That's why the whole second movie, that's why he said fuck off to the writers that they hired because he's like, no, we're not doing this shit again. We're doing something else.
Yeah.
Just hang on, Bubby.
Yeah.
And so I wonder now if it's established that yes, he has control over this character, which obviously I think everyone at this point wants that from Ryan Reynolds to have control over Deadpool because he knows what he's doing with that character.
Yep.
It's very, and the cool thing about Deadpool is obviously this movie's, oh no, obviously this, I see, buddy. Obviously this movie is going to come out after, Endgame and not Endgame,
Doomsday and
Doomsday and
Secret
Secret
Wars,
War.
yeah.
The cool thing about Deadpool's character is you can just throw him in and nothing has to make sense. It's freaking Deadpool.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing about his character. You don't have to do any explanation about what's happened before, none of that shit. You just have to make a Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
And he's gonna tell you what's happening anyways. Be like, yeah, this wasn't gonna happen, but they gave me control.
Yeah, and he has shown, and you were saying, the body of work of having gotten rid of directors and writers and all this stuff to be able to maintain that control and still produce these really good movies or be a part of the input for the character, right? And yeah, he knows the character, and he loves playing the character, and he wants the best for the character, and that's exactly what you want. And we talked about this before with any actor that is representing any type of superhero or any comic character. You want somebody who's going to be faithful to what that character is to play that character, which is why people go, this is a generational Charlie Cox Daredevil, even though he doesn't have red hair. You know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
doesn't matter because he understands the will of the character and what people want to see out of the character. And
Yeah.
I think another person to talk about that too, or put in that conversation, is now Tom Holland with how he has
Yes.
had his input with Spider-Man. We obviously know that he's getting his fourth movie now, right? Which has never happened for a
Yeah.
Spider-Man actor. But he's talked very extensively about how he was going and watching podcasts. Should have been us watching podcasts and people online and understanding like what people want out of the character and that's not always the best thing, but he has the core of the character at heart, and that's
Yeah.
same with Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds looks like he was lifted off of the page of the comics, and it's just, I'm very excited. I wonder what they're going to do, whether it's going to be, again, where it's more of a solo him focused story, or will they bring in somebody else as a co-main lead, sort of like Wolverine, in this fourth movie? And if so, who
Yeah.
do you think would be a good person to be with him, aside from maybe Cable again? I would like to see more Cable, but that's just
Yeah,
me.
I mean, they had a very long running comic series with the Deadpool and Cable line. So, I mean, they obviously that's why they did that because they have a lot of history.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna be real with you. I want to see an actual X-Force.
Instead of,
So
yeah, the cameo
yeah,
crap, Terry
so I would
Crews.
like to see an actual X-Force because I don't think we'll ever get just Deadpool again. Because I mean, Deadpool, we had Domino, which I would like to see more Domino too. I was kind of bummed she wasn't in Deadpool and Wolverine, but more Domino. That's a potential suitor because they have a lot of history.
Right.
Like you said, more Cable. I'm really leaning X-Force though, because I believe at one point they were in talks to do an X-Force movie. But when the whole thing with the Fox transition went down, I think it got scrapped. But I would love to see that revisited, especially with Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine.
Right.
But I mean, even then, like this would be a good time to like recast. Nah, I don't want to recast yet. I'm lying. We're not going to do that. Not until he's 90.
Till you're 90. Yeah. Yep.
But so I would like to see X-Force, and I think that's where they could go. Because obviously Deadpool is going to appear at some point in either Doomsday or Secret Wars. We know that much because we got to figure out why Thor is crying over Deadpool.
Yeah. I'm gonna be under the assumption it's Secret Wars. I don't remember him being on one of those chairs for Doomsday for the release.
Yeah,
But and again, I know that we talked about this, that potentially there's going to be more characters than were led on by that release of like all the names. But that being said, I don't really think that you need it, especially if you are going to do Secret Wars, which will again include so many characters, right? I
yeah.
don't want
Well,
it to be too much. That's my thing.
yeah. When they did the chairs, they didn't show Chris Evans at first, though, did they?
I don't remember.
I don't think Chris Evans. I was gonna say I don't think his name was on a chair. It could have been, but I don't think it was.
I mean, that's a big one though to bring back. Like it's different than having like
Yeah,
Deadpool and Deadpool. really is kind of a gag side character in one of those movies. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he would make sense in Secret Wars, and it would be really great if in Secret Wars, if we're potentially getting, just saying, Iron Spider, Tobey Maguire in this one for Doomsday. What if in Secret Wars, maybe you have Andrew Garfield with the symbiote, or I just want Andrew Garfield and Deadpool to interact. I think they would be the best pairing. I just don't see him with
Yeah.
Tom's character, you know?
Dude, I just really I think Andrew deserves the symbiote.
Yeah.
He deserves it. So if we do get to see him, that'd be very cool. Um, I still like one of my dream movies is Web of Shadows with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That movie would cook.
I mean, hey, we're in a pretty massive era for both Spider-Man and X-Men, mutant-related characters. So it's a
Yeah.
really big season for these guys right now, especially the X-Men. And I think, you talking about X-Force, obviously they're kind of like slow dripping in X-Force and stuff in the show for obviously X-Men 97. But just exposing more of these teams to the general audiences that can allow you to maybe potentially do more with that moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're just going to have to see what happens, first of all, with how are we going to keep or introduce the mutants into the mainline MCU and what's going to be the end result of Secret Wars. Like, Doomsday is going to tell us a lot, right? We're going to be able to figure out, like, I'm sure a bunch of the X-Men older characters and you are being brought in are going to die in some capacity. It wouldn't shock me if a bunch of them got killed off
Yeah.
in Doomsday, which would establish moving forward to Secret Wars, and then you can do other characters and fill in some of those spots, So we'll see. That's going to be one of the main questions for that.
And that reminds me too, because I said something to you. Obviously, you haven't watched the Marvels yet, but they had such a huge end credit scene that like ties into this multiverse stuff. And I'm like, I think they're really just going to gloss over it.
Yeah,
Obviously, I'm not going to spoil it for you because I know you're still yet to watch that, but that's such a like really important end credit scene.
right.
And the fact that it might be glossed over kind of bothers me. So we'll see.
Marvel has a habit
Man,
of doing this, though, with end credit stuff and
yeah.
not leading to anywhere.
Well, see, that's the thing though. Like, it should, with what's happening in this movie, it should definitely lead somewhere with the characters that they've showed that are going to be in this movie. It should definitely lead somewhere. Also, I'm just thinking about this. Did that poster have Beast in it?
Yes. Yes, it did.
Okay,
I
that's
believe
what I
so.
thought.
Well, I believe so. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It did. Now
Yeah.
that I think about it, I'm
I think he was on, like, the
reimagining it.
left-hand side, like, kind of
Yeah,
leftish. Yeah.
yeah, like in the back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, yeah, that's the thing is, and I've talked about this before, it does scare me when you introduce so many characters into a movie that it doesn't just become a cameo fest, which is why I really wanted it to I want it to just be focused on like a Doom story and everybody else is kind of, the same way they did Infinity War. And Infinity War was done pretty much perfectly. It's probably the best way that you could do an ensemble movie. Like, yes, Endgame had the great scene of the portal scene where everybody comes out and that's cool. But having so many characters, because we've seen Avengers movies and we've seen a lot of characters, nothing to the level of Infinity War, and Doomsday is going to be way more than that. You're getting way more
Yes.
characters in Doomsday. So I feel like you have to have a centralized character that you focus a lot of the screen time and plot onto, and that should be Doom, because Doom is super important. And we really need him to
Yeah.
be really, really good moving forward because we need more Doom and we need more Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four needs to get some more spotlight because they have been absolutely screwed except for this latest movie, which even then didn't make as much money as people kind of thought it was going to.
Yeah.
But still, really good castings for the characters. I definitely love John. You've said that you love Pedro Pascal. I'm kind of iffy on him, but and Galactus being represented super well.
Mhm.
So yeah, I want to see more of that, but also too, Doom is one of the coolest villains to me in the comics, and that's just maybe it's kind of partially because I like MF Doom, rest in peace. But I think that Doom is such a unique aura farming character. He's kind of like Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z. He just kind of flexes on everybody, and I love him. You know,
Yeah, who doesn't love a guy that can play piano?
who doesn't love a freaking magician empire leader who basically his entire goal is to fuck with Mr. Fantastic all the time?
Uh, Good times.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have to see, but I do hope that they focus, and I'm still waiting for that trailer. Would really like, instead of those little teasers. I know we talked about that.
Dude, did you see tickets for Doomsday go on sale like next month?
Oh, I hadn't seen that, but it means we'll
Yeah,
probably
it's
be
like
getting one
really,
pretty soon. A
or
trailer.
this month. It was either this month or next month. Yeah, I think their plan is to drop the trailer and then tickets are going to be on sale.
It would make sense to wait until after Spider-Man has finished this press run and the movie
Yeah.
releases, and then pretty. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that they
Uh,
release the trailer in
uh,
theaters for Spider-Man
that's what I've
release?
heard. That's what I've heard that they're going to have the trailer in theaters,
That would
which
be insane.
I hate sitting through the trailers. But I'm gonna make sure I'm on time so I can see these trailers because
Yeah.
that trailer,
Can you
ooh,
imagine? That would be insane. Then you get one of the potentially best Spider-Man movies right after that. That would be the biggest flex of all time. That would be so
literally.
good. So, did you want to hop into some other really good news in that Blue Beetle is going to be coming back to the DCU as the same actor?
Yes. Let's talk about that. That's very exciting because that leads to potential for, because I've seen stuff about this too. I heard Zachary Levi was on the set of one of the
Ooh,
movies.
for Shazam. Hmm.
Yeah, so he could potentially come back as Shazam if we're getting Blue Beetle back, because that was like supposed to be the last movie of that whole DC universe, wasn't it? Was the Blue
DCEU,
Beetle
yeah.
movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so him back now, that sets up the potential if they really like the casting of other characters, they can now bring those characters back. And I mean, that's something that's easily explainable. Like, I don't think anyone's going to complain about it, but I'm very excited for that guy to be back as Blue Beetle because he is another person that really enjoyed that character
Yes.
and he shared his excitement. Um, and we know it's confirmed because James Gunn's the one that said it.
Yeah.
And like I said on the podcast before, like, don't believe any DC news in terms of movies unless you hear it from James Gunn's mouth because he's not shy about that stuff. He will tell you. Like he even went over the whole conversation he had with Ryan Reynolds where he was just joking around with Ryan Reynolds about coming back as Green Lantern. He quickly shot it down, but everyone's like, "Oh, he almost played Green Lantern again." No, it was a joke between them because they both know each other.
Yeah.
But he's very informative with the people. Like he explained the whole earring thing for Kara and that like she went to a sun with a
Red
red
Sun.
sun planet.
Yeah.
And he explained that. I mean, some people didn't buy it, but I mean, at least he's giving you explanations. Because, sometimes things happen in movies where you don't have time to put an explanation in for that. It just happens. So I like that he does go offline and kind of give you a little more lore to stuff as well. Because James Gunn he's a very upfront person with that stuff.
He's also very well versed, especially into like the Superman related comics, but into the characters that he's writing about in general. So whenever he's going and describing these things on his social media platforms, it's like, okay, people are asking him these questions, which kind of a lot of the time are stupid questions if you know things about the characters in the comics. Like the whole thing with Kara getting her ears pierced. Duh. Red Sun planets. We've seen this in the original animated Justice League show, in which Superman loses his powers in a Red Sun planet and is basically just a human. We know that they become susceptible. That makes sense. But I will say, Blue Beetle was a really underrated movie to me, and I told you about this when I was watching, and I love the way that Scarab interacted with the actor. Absolutely loved his performance. And the suit was so good. The suit was really good in that movie. So I mean, yeah, it opens the potential to bring back other characters. I know that there's going to be backlash regardless. If characters come back from the DCEU and are recast and put into the DCU, there's going to be people complaining because, of course, it's going to be, well, why don't we have Henry Cavill back as Superman? Why isn't Gal Gadot Wonder Woman? Why isn't Batfleck? But it's all bullshit, dude. And Zachary Levi was screwed. He was screwed by Dwayne the Cock Johnson, man, because he pulled out of that second movie as Black Adam because he doesn't like to lose. Really frustrating because I enjoyed the first Shazam. I thought it was one of like those kind of a little bit above average. It was a fun movie, and Zachary Levi absolutely loved playing the character of Shazam. You could tell that he enjoyed the character. So it would be nice to see someone like that come back, or for Blue Beetle to have that actor come back. I think that's what we need more of, is people who are compassionate about the characters.
Yeah, like I said, there's always going to be those complaints, like you said, the whole Batfleck, yada yada yada. At the end of the day, it's the way I see it with the Blue Beetle. He's not a huge character like, say, your Batman, your Superman is. So those are something you kind of have to recast to set that universe. Blue Beetle is not like a huge character. His movie didn't do that well either.
Yeah.
But it's exciting for him to be able to come back because, yes, he is a smaller character. So, like, him not being recasted shouldn't set off a huge, shockwave, because there's probably quite a few people that haven't seen the Blue Beetle movie,
Right.
and they might not even know, because, like you said, it was kind of at the end of the whole DCEU thing where it was conversations that he was kicking off the new DC slate, because I believe things happened very quickly either after or during that film coming out, where it was James Gunn's taking over DCU's rebooting everything. And I remember everyone questioning, was like, was Blue Beetle going to be a part of this?
Yeah.
When we didn't really have any definitive answers. Well, now we have that definitive answer. Maybe it's not a kickoff to this, new DC universe, but his character is going to be a part of this DC universe.
And then the question then becomes, is this going to be that the character is coming back in a capacity for another film, not for another independent film necessarily, but is he going to make a cameo in something else? Perhaps he could be in something like a Teen Titans. I don't know, because he has been in the past, has been in the animated movies as well. In these most recent ones, he is a part of the Teen Titans. So there's a potential for that. We'll definitely... Because he hasn't confirmed if it's going to be an independent movie, right? It's just that the character is coming back, right? The actor is coming back. So
I thought he was going to make an appearance in the Superman movie.
That could make sense in Man of Tomorrow. But you know what would be really cool is if we actually got Ted Kord, who is the original Blue Beetle, first. Yeah, I would like to see Ted Kord. Cool. Yeah, because we haven't gotten him. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? You got anything else? Not a big news week, but we're getting there.
No, it definitely wasn't a big news week. I don't know. Shout out to Canada, though.
Yeah, for smog in the U.S. It was really smoky outside the other day. Real bad.
No, I actually did see the pictures of that. For anyone affected by that, obviously our deepest condolences. It's very unfortunate. That's one of the craziest fires I've ever seen. I hope as many people are safe as possible. Obviously, I wish the best of luck to Canada. We joke about not liking Canada. I don't actually hate Canada. I don't think you actually hate Canada, but
it's Barney Stinson's fault.
Right.
Barney Stinson made me like this. Yeah, fucking.
But I do hope. I do like to, every once in a while break our little comic book world and send our condolences out to people affected by tragedies, and this is definitely a huge one.
Yeah.
So I hope everything's going well there. The air quality still isn't 100% here, so I know it's definitely not 100% there.
Yeah. Yeah, our deepest condolences to anybody who's affected by those wildfires. But yeah, I figure that'll probably cover it. Next week, we will be talking about all the Spider-Men in anticipation of the movie releasing, which will be right after that podcast goes up. And we'll get to see it 2 days after the next one goes live.
Yes. And
That's what I'm saying.
I believe you guys are going to get live reactions from both of us that we'll probably just kind of put into the podcast.
I'm gonna put it
But
up
yes,
in short form for sure. I'm gonna post a
short
short
form.
of
Okay.
as soon as I walk out. Yeah, I'm recording,
Yeah.
so we'll definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm excited. So, well, everybody, thank you for watching another episode of the Abnormal Podcast. Check out our socials in the description below. Links will be posted, and we hope to see you next week. Peace out.
Yep.